You may not dislike people. In fact, you may care deeply about them. But after spending time around most people, you feel tired, not physically exhausted, but emotionally depleted. Even short conversations can leave you wanting silence. Even casual gatherings can require recovery time. And you probably wonder why something so normal for others feels so heavy for you. Emotional exhaustion around people is rarely about social incompetence. It is usually about psychological sensitivity. When you enter a room, you don't just hear words. You register tone shifts, micro-expressions, tension beneath laughter, subtle insecurity masked as confidence. While others engage at surface level, your mind automatically scans for emotional undercurrents. That constant scanning consumes energy. Most people are not consciously aware of the emotional atmosphere around them. They respond to direct communication. You respond to implied communication. When someone says they're fine but their posture suggests otherwise, you notice. When someone jokes to hide discomfort, you feel it. When someone dominates a conversation, protect their ego, you sense it. Processing all of this in real time is cognitively expensive. Over time, your nervous system begins associating social interaction with effort. You're not just talking. You are interpreting, adjusting, filtering, choosing words carefully to avoid unnecessary tension. Even when conversations go smoothly, you may feel like you are managing more than just dialogue. Another reason you feel drained is authenticity fatigue. Many environments reward performance. People exaggerate enthusiasm. They mirror opinions. They maintain social personas. If you are psychologically attuned, you detect that performance, and maintaining your own performance in response can feel unnatural. You may find yourself smiling when neutral, reacting when thoughtful, agreeing when uncertain. These micro-adjustments accumulate. You may also have developed this heightened awareness early in life. Perhaps you grew up in an environment where reading emotional cues was necessary. Maybe anticipating mood shifts kept interactions stable. Children who learn to read subtle emotional signals often become adults who cannot stop doing it. What once protected you now exhausts you. Small talk can be particularly draining because it lacks depth. You crave meaning. But meaning requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires safety. When safety is absent, conversation feels like rehearsal rather than connection. You speak, but you are not fully present. You respond, but you are not fully engaged. That split between outer participation and inner distance consumes mental bandwidth. After social events, you may replay interactions, not obsessively, but reflectively. You analyze whether you misread someone, whether you revealed too much, whether you should have responded differently. This reflective loop extends the energy expenditure beyond the actual event. None of this means you are antisocial. It means your processing system is sensitive. Sensitive systems gather more data. More data requires more processing. More processing requires more recovery. You may prefer one-on-one conversations because they reduce environmental complexity. Fewer signals, clearer focus, less emotional noise. In those settings, you feel less drained because your attention is concentrated rather than scattered. The modern world amplifies this exhaustion. Social media, constant communication, perpetual exposure to others' opinions and emotions. If you are emotionally perceptive, you absorb more than you realize. Your nervous system rarely rests fully in collective environments. Feeling drained around most people is not weakness. It is an indicator of depth combined with sensitivity. But without understanding it, you may interpret it as social failure. There's also the matter of boundaries. When you are emotionally aware, people often confide in you. They sense your attentiveness, your calm, your willingness to listen. Over time, you may become the emotional container for others, the one who understands, the one who absorbs frustration, anxiety, and confusion. But absorbing without releasing creates internal buildup. If you struggle to set boundaries, exhaustion intensifies. You may agree to plans you do not want, stay in conversations longer than comfortable, offer reassurance even when depleted. Each instance seems minor. Collectively, they erode your energy. Another factor is mismatch of stimulation. Some people thrive in high-energy environments, fast conversations, loud laughter, constant interaction. If your baseline is reflective and calm, overstimulation feels like friction. Your nervous system does not interpret it as excitement. It interprets it as strain. Because you analyze deeply, you may also struggle with superficial social hierarchies. Status games, dominance displays, competitive banter. When you perceive the insecurity beneath those behaviors, participating feels artificial. You may withdraw instead of compete, and withdrawal is often misread as disinterest. Over time, you might internalize a narrative that you are too sensitive or too introverted. But sensitivity is not fragility. It is data richness. Introversion is not fear. It is energy orientation. You recharge alone because solitude removes interpretive demand. Silence does not require decoding. The key shift is not forcing yourself to become less sensitive. It is structuring your life to respect your processing style. Limiting exposure to chronically draining environments, choosing relationships where reciprocity exists, allowing recovery time without guilt. When you begin to honor your energy patterns, exhaustion decreases, not because people change, but because your boundaries become clearer. You speak when necessary. You disengage when overstimulated. You accept that not every room is designed for your nervous system. You may never become someone who thrives in constant social intensity, but you do not need to. Your strength lies in depth, observation, and discernment. You connect meaningfully, not broadly. You listen fully, not casually. You perceive nuances others miss. Emotional drainage is often the cause of emotional awareness without protection. Add protection, and awareness becomes strength instead of burden. It is possible that you do not feel drained because you dislike people. You feel drained because you experience them fully. And experience in the world fully requires rest.